Welcome back, everyone, to Stories The Path of Destinies. We are in our last 5. Check it out. 3, 9, 10, 13, and 14. So, let's get to going, I suppose.
Renato finally realized that Lapino was a traitor to the cause. And maybe Renato could use that somehow.
And we're gonna forget that.
Ah, Lapino. Apparently, the Mad Rabbit had sold a Pegasus that he did not exactly own. Lapino always wiggled out of trouble, given time. But he was out of time. Lapino's frantic message said that the Ravens were going to kill him. Lapino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen a winged horse. He'd only sold it. But wait, where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the Ravens?
Let's get back, because we've seen it a lot of times before. As far as the beginning of the Lapino story, a lot of videos that start out.
People were frightened these days. Just 2 weeks passed. Renato had sneaked through an empty town and listened to the Ravens caw about the Emperor's new taste in ritual sacrifice.
Forgot how to switch swords. I know how.
I wonder what happens if I go that way.
Ah, this is a chest. I don't need any chests because we have full health and full mana. Let's put this
The
back
village
there.
looked so peaceful. Were the villagers hiding somewhere? Of
Oh, I have a
course
level
not.
bonus.
No matter how much he searched, he would only find ravens here.
Quick shot down to do this. Dash, dash, dash. Just like dashing. I guess it would help if I introduced myself at the beginning of the video. Probably where I messed up. So I'm sure if you're on episode 25, 26,
Lapino must be waiting at the end of the cemetery.
that you probably know
Renato
who I
wanted
am by now.
badly to confront him for his treachery. But what good would that
However, if you don't, I'm Dash Brandon. This is our Let's Play Stories The Path of Destiny. I think that's it. Oh, I missed that last one.
Lapino would betray him. But now Renato knew that. What would Lapino do if he knew that Lapino was going to betray him? Well, he'd concoct some crazy scheme, wouldn't he? That used Lapino's betrayal against him and it would blow up in his face. Yeah. Maybe he was overthinking this. Dirty and bloody, Renato finally reached Lapino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Renato recognized the cards. It was Lapino's favorite deck. Oh, I thought you were in danger. I am. The Ravens are coming. Oh, the prison thing. Right, yeah, see, this guard owed me 53 ducats, so we made a deal. They're very reasonable people, actually, for weasels. Now, I got a brilliant plan to kidnap Zenobia. We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows, and that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who happened to also be a deadly sorcerer, and, oh, his only daughter? Ah, that would be worth it. And it would be nice to see her. He'd always had a soft spot for her. And he felt sure she had one for him. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power. To make the Sky Ripper,
Let's go for the
the
core.
Transcendent Emperor had wrapped an armature around the eye of a god. Bernardo had already let that armature slip away to save Lapino's life. But even its core, the eye torn from a god, surely they could fashion a great weapon from that.
The core of the Sky Ripper? Lapino's excited. That's an actual thing that we could just go and get. You've been busy.
He sure had. Renato told him all the things he'd been up to. Soon they got to talking about old times, about wages they'd won and lost, and scrapes they'd barely got out of. It was good to be back with his friend. True, the core was capable of terrible, uncontrollable destruction. But this time, he was sure it would work great. It's beautiful here, thought Renato. It was nice to be back with his old war buddy. All right. Lapino was a traitor.
Star Wars
Still,
titles.
It was good company.
Love it. I have a bad feeling about this. Name who said that. I bet you don't know.
There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time.
Just attacking you. You're the worst.
Renato felt wrong all over. He could feel an almost palpable sickness in the air. And if the land could have tumors, they would look like these monstrous crystals. The forest was quieter than it had been. There were insects, a few birds. He didn't have the ravens.
I got one of the attack. My armature was like, nope.
No help. Then a bad feeling about this. Renato thought, maybe Lapino was right. Maybe they should have kidnapped Zenobia instead of coming here.
Chapter 2 always seems
As he
to, or
held the
chapter 2
radiant
always seems to
icosahedron,
go fast.
Renato felt queasy, like dozens of tiny worms were nibbling his insides. It wasn't healthy to be so close to the eye of a god. How could he use it? He could take it to the observatory. The scientists there could tell him how to harness its ancient power. But honestly, Renato ached to get away from it. He brought the core back with him to the Farfarer. But honestly, Renato ached to be rid of it.
Tell you what,
Said Lapino.
I'll take it to the observatory. You attack the Imperial outpost.
The Imperial outpost was a vital communications node. Taking it could shatter the Empire's ability to coordinate. And it would be full of secret plans and maps and maybe even rebel prisoners. It was a good target for a hero like Renato. But
Sure is.
what if Lapino lost the core to the Empire? That could be a good thing, couldn't it? Was Renato ready to take that risk? Maybe it was better if he brought the core to the scientists himself.
Nah, we've done that before. We've done this too.
Trust me,
technically.
Renato, you won't regret this. I'll treat the core like it was my own baby daughter.
As the Farfarer dived towards the Nexus, Lapino was jumping up and down with excitement. Stop rabbiting around, Renato said. Lapino just stared at him. The moment the ship landed, Lapino leapt off the ship. As Lapino vanished into the wilds of the Nexus, Renato vaguely remembered Lapino had a baby daughter, didn't he? And he told her mother he was going out to get some Easter eggs, and he'd never come back. But Renato was relieved not to carry the core anymore. He was already feeling better. And who knows, maybe this time Lapino would get it right. And if Renato could take the outpost, he'd have access to all the Empire's communications in the sector. Right?
I'm just gonna step out for some Easter eggs. I'll be right back. I think it's better to grind up your combo and then you can one shot. I think that's like the fastest way to
Renato caught
get
his
the
breath.
combat going.
His joints still hurt, but he couldn't feel the poison in his system anymore. He'd let the armature slip out of his hands to save his friend Lupino. Of course he had to let Lupino take the core. The rebellion needed every man doing his duty. And the rabbit would be no good taking on an Imperial outpost, right?
I mean,
This was a roundabout way of
helped.
getting there.
And it feels better to do the combat like this than to do the throw everything and one shot it.
Renato took the outpost with a song in his heart. Soon, he was stuffing his sack with key messages from and to the fleet. Then the far speaker toad chortled a new message. The observatory had been sacked by ravens. Lupino and all the scientists had been taken to the mountains. Why? Why had he trusted Lupino again?
Hey, we haven't
And
done
now
that
the
one
Empire
before.
had the core. Renato hailed the rebel base to warn them. But their far speaker didn't crouch back. Was the base under attack too?
So clearly we need to do this
Who
one.
knew what was going on at the base? But he knew what the ravens would do to Lupino if Renato didn't rescue him fast. Well, actually he wasn't exactly sure. It kind of depended on whether Lupino was a traitor or not. Renato just couldn't bring himself to believe that. What are old friends for, if not to need rescuing every few days? Renato felt a twinge of doubt. Should he have gone to the base? No. Logically, wherever they'd taken Lupino was probably where they took the core, right? Oh, why couldn't Lupino have just for once not got himself captured? Was that too much to ask? He shouldn't be too hard on him. No, he meant well, and he was insanely brave. You had to admire that.
Get away. I don't like you. You always blow me up. I don't like it. Thought I was gonna make it. That's my combo. I don't think I'm gonna level up this story.
Where were they holding Lupino anyway? There was no sign of him or the ravens who'd captured him. Just rocks and snow and the usual scouts. No sign of the core either. Was this a wild rabbit chase? Oh, trust Lupino to screw up even getting captured. But what was this rebellion for anyway? Well, Lupino was a useless goof. But he was a friend. If friends didn't matter anymore, what was the point of winning this war?
For everybody else. I'm really not gonna level when I skip fights like I did right there. I know if I go for that chest, then there's gonna be a fight. Is that a range? Oh, come on. Run. I haven't changed my build in probably at least 10 episodes. And that's because the build I'm using is amazing. Every time I kill stuff, I get health.
The rebellion
Every
was
time
soon
I kill
engaging
stuff,
the
I get
Imperial
magic.
fleet in a desperate battle. All Reynardo had done was save a friend. Didn't
I can
feel
break
good.
through shields with my sword.
At the end of the mountain path, Reynardo came to a clearing. There was a campfire,
Oh, that's
raven
birds.
feathers, and Lupino's lucky deck of cards. Well, that wasn't good. Reynardo hoped Lupino would not try to cheat his captors at cards. Ravens were much better than weasels at counting, and they had a very poor sense of humor. Then, he saw what he had hoped never to see. Fresh scraps of rabbit fur. Ragged and bloody, ravens would eat anything. By Crabthar's hammer! Reynardo screamed at the sky. I will avenge you!
That's a crap
The
Thursday.
rebels had assembled their fleet. Ahead, the clouds were dark with Imperial ships. If he could reach the Emperor before the rest of the rebels did, maybe he could settle this without too much bloodshed. He set sail, and the Farfarer shot forward. Poor Lupino had never been a great warrior. The mad rabbit was good for a lark and a laugh. And a pint. The thought of ravens eating him made Reynardo furious. The way they were eating up the land. The way the Emperor was eating up the people with his new, bloodthirsty ways. He would make them all pay.
Yeah, my build consists of spell damage, does 40% less damage because I'm bad and get blown up a lot. I get 5% sword energy back when I kill something, and I can break the shields of the grunts. So I couple that with the sword I always use, the green sword, and I'm healing all the time. And it's just a really good self-sustained build. I like it all. That's why I haven't changed it. See here, we can see the altar, maxed out my health. I've maxed out my stamina, and working on finishing up the tree. I have 9 levels to go. I don't think I'm gonna finish that before I go with all the stories. So I have this one
Glaring
to
weakness
finish.
in the defense.
Oh, come on, I need to kill you so I can continue my combo. Then you broke my combo. What a jerk move. Yeah, no floor. I don't remember that happening in the first few episodes, which is why it's strange. Come here, you. Get over here. That's the proper phrase to yell. Get over here. Oh my goodness. See, I'm gonna heal all this back.
He had given up every objective to save his friend. He had given up the armature, the core, the gem, and even Zenobia. He loved Lupino, he realized.
Just missed a boat.
And now the rabbit was gone. A hero looks out for his friends, even when they're gone. He would send Lupino an honor guard of ravens to serve him in the halls of the valiant. He would avenge him.
Here's an honor guard of people I killed for you. Real great, right? is set up so when I hit 20 combo, I can basically one-shot everything. Which is pretty good. I recommend going for that first.
Finally, he reached the Emperor's ship. And there was Lapino, surrounded by ravens. He was alive.
Oh, what a dick.
They'd eaten some other rabbit. I'll save you! He shouted with joy and flung himself at the ravens. Oh, you shouldn't have, said Lapino when the last raven was down. Renato threw his arms around his best friend. I had to come. I love you, man. You really, really shouldn't have, said Lapino.
Oh.
And Renato felt a rather sharp pain in his back. As he collapsed, Lapino took the dagger out of Renato's back and wiped it off on Renato's sleeve. Why? You always have to be the hero. Brave Renato, epic Renato, super sexy Renato. No, I'm sick of it.
As Renato died, all he could think was, damn it, fooled again.
Wow. Nothing like a bunch of regrets as you die, right? So we got 5 windows since we finished another line. We have 4 to go. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope you have a good day. This is Dash Brandon.